Hey, what's up? It's me again. So, yeah, I made that video out of pain, and I think now that I look at it, you know what? Maybe calling women out their names is not right. It's not right, and I'm wrong for that. I'm wrong for calling them bitches, but this is the reason why we even call them bitches is because you know the things they do, how they act, how they perceive things. That's why men call them bitches. But me, I said that out of pain, and you know, I'm not trying to offend nobody. And if someone that I know sees this video, just know I'm not trying to offend you. You know, I'm just going through it. I mean, I was going through it, but there's gonna be somebody out there in the world who might see that video and be like, this is real pain. He's doing this because he's hurt. Someone hurt him. Someone hurt him for him to be yelling like that. And if you don't see it that way, you can get out, you can stop watching this video and get lost. Don't watch this video, or don't watch the video. If it's triggering you, don't watch the video. Seriously, I'm not going to delete it because I feel like someone out there in the world is going to look at that and be like, that's a hurt man right there. That's someone that's going through it. That's a hurt man who deserves better. Me yelling at that camera or whatever, me shouting and stuff like that, that's me hurting right there. That's me hurting, and if you don't like the fact that I'm hurting, then unsubscribe, because it's people like you who causes other people to, they end themselves because they feel like, they can't express themselves and they can't express their pain and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So they end themselves for it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not one of those people at all. I'm just saying that that's a real life scenario. A man has balled up his emotions so much to the point where they just end themselves. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ball up my emotions and go through so much pain to the point where it's unbearable. You know what I'm saying? That's not healthy for me. I had to scream and shout. That's better than punching a wall and hurting my hand at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm only putting that side of me out there because you know what? Someone out there is going to look at that and be like, you know what? That's the real anger that I can feel. People don't have to like my videos. You know what I'm saying? People don't have to like me in general. You know what I'm saying? Just don't dictate what is and what isn't. That's the only thing I don't like. I don't like a dictator. I don't like someone who want to control how a person feel just based off of what they don't like. If you don't like someone having an outburst and going through pain and stuff like that, then you have the power to either ignore it or go to a different YouTube channel. Every YouTuber had a moment in their life to where they had, either a mental breakdown or an outburst. We are human at the end of the day, So that's all I gotta say. To all the women out there, I still believe wholeheartedly that being nice to you women, right? A man being nice to you, that's not sexual harassment. Him offering you a drink is not sexual harassment. Him picking up a purse and giving it to you is not sexual harassment. Him opening his door for you and saying have a nice day, that's not sexual harassment. No matter what you think it is never going to be sexual harassment. Is it harassment? Yeah, but not sexually, because there's no sexual intent. You know, I don't care what none of you think. You cannot convince me that doing good deeds for women is sexual harassment. That's an upside down world that I refuse to live in. But yeah, and at the end of the day, I got autism. I process information differently. Sometimes I can't stomach some things, you know? It's like telling a blind person to open their eyes and look at the world for what it is. You know? That's like telling somebody with digestion problems to consume iron, digest the iron right now. Type energy, you know? And you can't do it because it's not meant to be digested, you know? But let alone consume. That's me. I'm consuming, you know, information about a lot of things, you know, like if I'm being told I'm wrong, that might be hard to consume because, you know, the way I look at things and the way I process things, I'm programmed differently, you know? The way I'm looking at stuff, like, it's going to take time for me to look at that and be like, you know what, maybe I am wrong, you know? But that's just how I work, you know? That's how I work. That's how I function, you know? So yeah, I'm not deleting that video. You know, if it ever does get to a point where someone I know wants me to delete that video, I'll think about it. But I'm not deleting it. As of now, I'm just not going to delete it until I feel like, you know what, I gotta delete it. But I'm not going to do that. I just don't think it's necessary, you know? I mean, I definitely don't want no one that I work with, you know, see this video. But this is outside of work, so it shouldn't affect my job, you know? So, yeah. I'm not deleting this video. Or what I mean by this video, I'm talking about the other video. I'm not deleting that video. I'm just not, you know? Men need to see that video because they're hurting and they're angry and they need someone to relate to. That's why I'm not deleting the video. That's why I'm keeping it up. But that's all I gotta say. Peace out.